Hello, 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 hello.
Empezar el entrenamiento. La llamo cuando se termine. Ya la llamo.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Robert. It's Fernando. Good evening.
Fernando, how are you, man? Staying warm?
Yes, sir. I got my warm-ups on.
You and me both, man.
It's cold, man. It's cold.
I know. I just came from my son's soccer game.
Oh,
And,
man.
soccer practice, I'm sorry. And
Yeah,
that wind was blowing so hard, I was like, ooh-wee.
That's crazy.
It's good to hear from you, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. I was going to bring up about the United
The conference.
Conference, yeah. Disney conference.
Okay, cool. I had talked to Amy earlier. I'm going to talk about some of the emails that's coming out. So after we get going, maybe we could kind of start off with that.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, great. All right, guys, we'll give it a few more minutes to get everybody in. I'll make sure to try to stay as close to time as possible. Thank you guys for coming out. I know you got a lot of things on your plate that you could be doing, but hopefully we can get some information tonight that could hopefully, point us in the right direction when it comes to this commercial. I know you guys are doing a lot of good deals out there. That's why these prices keep going up and we can't get any offers accepted.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Laura Pruitt said something about they offered 61,000 as their list price.
I was like, oh my God, that is crazy.
On Facebook, I'm like, what?
That's the way it's going. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know, it's crazy. I have been on a lot of calls where we've offered over asking price, even, took out inspections, all kinds of things, and still getting beat out, man.
Yeah, even the landlords, they're receiving multiple highest and best offer on the application. I've never heard of that. Where instead of $1,500 a month, they're offering $1,525 or $1,550.
Oh my!
So even the tenants are raising the rent.
Yeah. I tell you,
and they're not even going to look at the house for rent.
Oh my God!
They're just doing the application.
Jesus.
And that's why sometimes you see things like renting for one day, and then the next day there's already an accepted applicant because they didn't even go see it.
It's funny, as a realtor, as a business in this industry, you don't want it to stop, but it's like it's getting a little crazy. Buyers are on the verge of, wanting not to even continue the process. They feel like, there's no way to win an offer. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed that you're recording right now.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I did not stop it. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. I don't know why it automatically records. I try to turn that off, but it doesn't let me.
Because sometimes when we start, we forget to press record.
I guess so. I don't know. I need to look into that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Sorry, we're having a little real estate moment there. Chime in as you feel the need, but just passing time here. We got a few more minutes. Give everyone to 8:30 to get in, and we'll talk about some things tonight, and we'll let you guys continue to stay warm and make some more offers.
Hey man, I love that what you're sharing, the two exceptional names, now one company.
Yeah.
I think they're actually working on our new co-branding. If we want to use it, of course, we can stay with Texas Realty.
Yeah.
And not change anything, but they are working on a co-branding business card kind of thing. So
man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know change is kind of, difficult sometimes, and sometimes they come when you don't want them, but I'm liking it, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a lot of good stuff that's rolling out. The dashboard is friendly. And I know a lot of people are already starting to use it because I'm hearing about it.
Yep, me too. I'm starting
yeah. So go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that one thing that I also noticed, and because I always like to read between the lines, you notice how Texas United Realty is on top and United Real Estate is at the bottom.
Mm,
That's pretty interesting, is my point. Meaning that we're still, a lot of people were like, "Oh, is it going to change? Is it going to change?" Well, I mean, yeah, there's some changes, good changes, but you see how Texas United Realty is still Texas United Realty.
yeah, looking positive to me.
Oh yeah.
And we ain't even seen the bulk of it yet. That's a good thing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we had a question out there, Mr. Dale. How you doing, Dale? Welcome. He was talking about the interest rate. I think, who knows how fast they're going to go up. I know they're starting to ease up, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you at this rate.
What I heard from a lender was, because I attended one of the meetings last week, and they said that it is going to go
8
up.
points.
Yeah, it is going to go up, and but it's going to be a slow. It's not going to like drastically go up, but it is. They said it, or the lender was saying that it is going to go up. Is what he told me.
Okay.
0.25 or 0.50 or 0.75. Kind of increments. So that is definitely happening.
Yeah, sorry guys. I thought I had let everyone in, but we had some people waiting there. That's my bad. I'm sitting here talking, but welcome to the call. We got a few more minutes here, but actually a minute before we get started. We were talking about interest rates and what we think is going to happen. It's a lot to talk about. I go ahead, just to be sensitive of time. It's 8:30 right now. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for coming
Make sure to
out.
press the record button.
I'm sorry.
Make sure you press the record button.
I never stopped it. I'm sorry. I didn't stop it, but it's going.
Cool.
Yeah, it's still going. Okay. Can you see it on your end? Because I'm saying that it's recording.
Yes, it's recording.
Okay, all right, great. All right, so guys, thanks for coming out on this Thursday. I know all of us are busy with so many things, family, work, whatever else that we have on our plate. Tonight, we want to talk a little bit about this commercial improved contract. But before we get started, make sure I got my screen going here. We got a few things we want to talk about, some upcoming stuff and some things that just maintenance that we want to make sure that everybody's aware of, and we want to make sure everybody have the right communication. Fernando, I'll start first, and then you can come in and kind of talk about the conference. I talked to Amy Skinner, which is helping us with our compliance. She's our supervisor here at United Real Estate in Texas United. And we were in the process of, getting everybody the dashboard, bullseye, all the communication and training. And we've been sending out emails over the last couple of weeks. And we just want to make sure that everyone has been getting emails through this system. Sometimes, I'm not sure how your email is set up. They may have some blockers on there just because they think it's coming from somewhere with malice or whoever the case is. But if you are not getting emails from us, and you have one of these sites that you're using for your email host, take a picture of this screen, or if not, I'll try to email it out to you guys. If you need it, you can send me an email. But if you could, take a picture of this screen, and if you are not getting emails, try to solve your problem with this right here. Hopefully I explained that correctly. Did everybody understand what I mean by that? Did everybody here to see the screen that I got up with the helpful tips on it?
Yeah, because what we've been hearing in the office, Robert, is sometimes I get these messages. Hey, Fernando, I didn't know that there was a training class.
Yeah,
I didn't know this, I didn't know that, and it's probably because it's going to spam or it's going to the trash folder, and they need to run these processes, step-by-step processes, so like that they can tell the message from United Real Estate when they receive it that, hey, this is not spam, or this is not a trash, or this is not, those kind of weird emails that we do get. So
yeah. So guys, take a look. I know we've been sending out emails on a weekly basis, but there's a lot of good communication coming down the pipeline, and we just want to make sure everybody gets it. Particularly, you know, over the last couple of weeks, Bullseye has been introduced. Everybody got their account name. We're trying to get bios and photos to upload to your website and your profile. So please, if you haven't been getting those emails, reach out to someone, or let's, you know, use these tips to help maybe correct the problem so you can start getting those emails. And the cool thing is, you know, if you do have your dashboard, and you can find that email, the Bullseye dashboard, you can go into that little chat area. You can put in questions, concerns, and we have a team of people ready to answer those questions to make sure that we're on the right track. So just want to talk about that. And Fernando, you want to talk a little bit about the
Yes. Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the conference that we're having. It's a United Real Estate Conference in Disney World, the one in Florida. It's in the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resort. It's May 8th, 9th, and 10th, which is a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It's going to be a huge event. And United Real Estate has over 20,000 agents in 40 states. So it's going to be a really great networking, learning about other, you know, what other agents are doing. We're going to have several speakers there. One of them, I believe, John Foley, I believe is one of them. And I think he was doing, but these speakers, let me see. Oh yeah, John Foley is a former lead solo pilot of the Blue Angels, so he'll be there as well.
Wow.
Besides other keynote speakers. But there's going to be a lot of different information for all of us. You know, what offerings they have, what support tools we have, or we will be getting in the future as well. And what we can do. I know registration. Sometimes all of us, you know, we're in money tight, budget tight, but what we can do is we can have it where through your DAs, your CDAs, you know how you get your commission check, we can actually have it where it pays it from one of your commission disbursements.
Wow, that's great.
Rather than you actually writing a check or charging on a credit card, you can just, when you register, you can put a promo code on there, and then the promo code is automatically flags it that the next DA that you get, you'll just pay it off from there. And we can tell everyone what the promo code is. It's called PREREG, and we'll be notifying everyone on this. And then, so you can pay it off your DAs as well, so that, which is really helpful. And we're having something where if you do that, if you register before March 30th, you will get a $50 credit on your next transaction. So in other words, if we take out a certain amount of money, you'll get a $50 credit for signing up before March 30th. And we'll be announcing all this through emails and what have you. But we're hoping that everybody can try to make it. I know it's you know, it's family time and all that. But if you can take your family with you as well.
Yeah.
And like what I'm doing personally is I'm going 3 days before, which allows me to still get the same rates as what they're charging me for the hotel. Or you can do 3 days after as well. So, and so you can say that United Real Estate got a block of time and hotel reservations and what have you to get those prices. And if you register now, you know, you can get the tickets, the airline tickets, not so expensive.
Yeah.
So we're really encouraging everyone to try to make it to the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resort. It's going to be a great experience for all of us. I know I've never been to a national conference.
Not for real estate, for sure. That's cool.
Yeah. Like I've been a realtor 14 years and I've never gone.
Me neither.
I don't know. Have you gone, Robert?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm amazed at it. I'm still working on trying to get there, but man, it's cool. I'm telling you, it's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good information. You know, you don't think about real estate companies that take the time out to develop, and, you know, get the tools and resources that we need to be successful. You know, we know one of the things why we came over to Texas United, it was definitely, you know, I guess realtor friendly when it comes to fees. But now we're starting to get those tools and resources that can help us along the way and not have to spend so much money outside of what we already have. Of course, you know, with marketing and all that stuff, we're going to have to spend something, but I'm starting to see a lot of good stuff. So I'm totally excited about it. And at this conference, you know, I haven't been, but I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about all of the new stuff that's coming out that we can be prepared to receive or, you know, start to kind of see coming down the pipeline.
Great. And that's all I had on my.
Okay. All right. So, you know, thank you, Fernando, for sharing. Guys, if you hadn't already. Hey, Fernando, that was a, what is it? I know it off the top of my head. You can go to the United Real Estate Conference.
Yeah, it's called UnitedRealEstateConference.com.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all one word. There's no spaces. There's no periods between the UnitedRealEstateConference.com. Very simple.
Yeah. If you don't do anything else, just go out there and take a look at what they're doing, kind of what's happening, you know, where the hotel is going to be. It's a good deal, I'm telling you. So just at least check it out. UnitedRealEstateConference.com. All right. Okay. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. We're not going to be long with this.
The Baptist Church was an ordained minister. First went to Morehouse, then Crosby Theological Seminary, then went to Boston.
Hey, somebody, could you mute your line? I'm sorry. I thought you were asking a question. Okay. All right. So I know we're not going to be able to go into the true detail on this. So this is going to be an overview, something to kind of get you familiar. It's almost like what I'm sorry, what did you say?
Okay,
You might
because
have
I'm
to-
trying to do this video conference and I keep losing it.
Okay. So in any case, like I said, we're not going to be able to get into in depth, but we're going to talk about each line item and what I think you should put there. But this is negotiation. But more importantly, you won't see this form for the first time when you start to use it. You've already reviewed it. You can get yourself familiar with it. We can talk, we can ask a few questions about it. And, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can take this. Okay, but let's get going. Get the screen to go down. Okay, so deciding when to use a commercial contract for improved property. Of course, you know, anything that's labeled commercial, you can use this when you're purchasing buildings, apartments, churches, shopping centers, multifamily, and more, as long as it's improved, right? Sometimes, you know, people kind of get into it as a zone for commercial, not zone for commercial. But when you're thinking about, you know, the tax record, you get most of your information from it. We'll talk a little bit about that here later, but I mean, there's a distinction between commercial and residential, and sometimes you have to do a little bit more research than others, but there's definitely can figure it out, okay? But in terms of land, you would use a commercial unimproved contract. We're not going to talk about that tonight, but there's a improved and there's an unimproved. Just make sure you know the difference. So there will be an opportunity where you can do some land sales as well. When, you know, one key thing I like to talk about, you know, is when you have a contract that is prepared by an attorney, say for instance, you know, you're the seller and you got an attorney prepare a contract, a buyer, either way, I always recommend that, you know, you tell your client to partner with their lawyer or to consult one, just so there's an even playing field, right? We don't want to get caught up in trying to interpretate law or interpretate different language that, you know, puts one person better than the other. We just stick to the promulgated forms by Texas, and those we can interpret and work with our client through. The ones that are written up by lawyers, definitely take a partner, all right? And in commercial, just as a general rule of thumb, to be honest with you, you're always going to want to either know an attorney, can call an attorney, just have one available to help you through these transactions. It'll make things a lot easier, and for your client too, because a lot of times if they haven't done these type of deals or they don't have a business where they need an attorney, they can't just call one, right? So make sure if you're going to get into this business, it'll be a good idea to have someone on staff. And I think, we got some people that are attorneys right here in our company. They don't represent Texas United or United Real Estate, but if not anything else, they can probably point you in the right direction or tell you what you need to do to kind of help the process. All right, and always consult with a business broker or an attorney for guidance when you're advising someone to buy a property that's sold with a business. We can't really do business transactions, so it'll be good to have someone kind of step in and make sure that your buyer or your seller, whoever it is, have the best representation to complete that transaction. All right, so please do not try to complete those transactions. If you're probably going to partner with myself or someone else on call, excuse me, just make it a habit to consult with an attorney if you got a lot of difficult or some unique transactions that you're not familiar with. And I don't want to talk too fast. Did everybody kind of get that or have any input they want to add to that real quick before I move on? Okay, so this is just some things to decide when you are going to consider using this contract, okay? All right, so where do you want to locate this? If you guys could mute your line. Thank you. Where to locate it? It's on dotloop, right? I know we got a new system coming down the line. You guys are gonna be super stoked about Paperless Pipeline. I've heard some good things about it. Haven't had a chance to see it, but it's coming. So a lot of good product coming your way. But you can use Zip Forms or wherever you get your forms from, Transaction Desk. I'm going to use dotloop because that's the preferred method, especially for our newbies, or if you like an easy system to use. So you'll go in here, you'll create a loop, you choose a transaction, and then you add documents, and I'll show you where to go. I just want to be clear that we know where to get this document from, because it could be a little tricky. So you've probably seen this screen before. When you in here, this is your dotloop main screen when you start. Sorry about those addresses. I just went in there and pulled some stuff up here. But right here, add a loop. All right. When you get that loop added, like say for instance, if this was a loop, just open it up. I know this is basic, but it helps. Open the loop up, go to this property, and then you'll see the list of items that you have in there. And then here, you can add a document, right? And once you add a document, this screen pulls up for templates over here. Browse, email, but we're gonna focus on this one that says templates. And once you go into templates, you're gonna see a little, I guess, bar here that can kind of go up and down. And you go down here to Texas Realtor Interactive Documents, click on that one, all right? And then when you click on that one, now here's the hint. Now, if you are a newbie and you haven't done this before, it's probably going to ask you for your NERS ID, and I should have added that in here, but I thought about it when I saw this come across. It's going to ask you for your NERS ID number. You can get that from HAR, from your profile, or there's a link right there that says look up your NERS ID, and you can use your email, phone number, and it'll give it to you. But once you get past that, it's only going to ask one time, and that's if you haven't done it already. Once you do it one time, it'll actually go past that, and you will never see it again. So, but in any case, once you get into this actual library, Texas Realtor Interactive, you can tap up here in the middle and do a search. And I just look for commercial property, and then the improved property was the first one up here. Okay. Then I just check it, saying that I want it. If I want some other stuff, because we're talking about this commercial contract, but before you get there, there's an LOI, there's a letter of a lease, all commercial documents, and some other documents that you probably haven't seen in your dotloop. You can search right here for it by just typing in the name. But the commercial documents are definitely going to be here. Letter of intent, property condition form, anything you can think of, it's all right here. And there's a lot of them, okay? Then once you click the documents that you want, and then you go, okay, they're gonna go import. And when you import them, they're gonna go automatically to the top of your list in your .loop file where we were. Okay, so with that being said, hold on one second. I want to switch over. We're gonna actually look at a contract and kind of walk through it. Hold on one second. Let me just get the right one up here. Okay, here we go. Can y'all see that? Hopefully you can.
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, this is in .loop. You can get it. And also at the bottom of each form, I should put that up there as well. There is a number, and you can actually type in that number there, and it'll pull up that form a lot quicker, just in case, because some of the words are alphabetical and they could be a little tricky. But if you put this form number in there, you will get to it a lot faster. All right, so let's get started. And guys, you know, I'm going to talk as I go because, like I said, this is an overview. If we have questions, we can ask them, but we're not going to be able to get too in depth. But I definitely want you to be familiar with this and have an opportunity to ask questions if, you know, we have the opportunity to, or if it's not that long. All right. So, of course, you know, one, parties, we already know that. That's the basic stuff. I don't have to explain that to you. Your seller, buyer. In most cases, you're going to have a lot of companies. Remember, you don't want, a company cannot sign for it, so there has to be a signing partner or someone authorized to do business on the entity of that company. So make sure you include that with your sellers and even your buyers if they are LLC or some type of corporation. Number two, you know, always you can go to Harris County, Waller County, Montgomery County. You can go to any county appraisal district and get the legal address. You know, a lot of times, you know, you're on LoopNet and some of those other sites, they don't have the full legal address, but you can go to that county and put in that address and find a legal address for it. All right. And if not, you know, if there's more than one like tax account number or ID number, just list all of them here in this area as you see it. Okay. So this is, you know, your property and what county they're in. And then you come down to, you know, the price. I mean, you guys know this. This is just like residential. You have your cash portion, you have your financing portion. Those two add together becomes your sales offer, right? If it's straight cash, it'll be here cash, the amount, and then cash at the bottom, just like you say. And of course, we initial on the bottom of each page as we go. Let's go back up. You know, I don't want to skip too fast because you don't really put anything in here. All sellers tangible property located at or used in connection with this property. You know, if you're going to put something in here, just make sure that, you know, you guys talked about it. In most cases, you don't see a whole lot of stuff in there. But just to kind of point that out. All right, moving on to the next page, financing. If there is some financing, whether it's, you know, assumption or seller financing, cash is not coming, cash is not financing, but anything other than cash, you can kind of list it here. How much you're gonna expect to get from financing, and sometimes even though the person might not be paying cash, but they have cash to pay for it just in case the financing don't work, and they'll tell you, hey, we're gonna buy it one way or another. I'm gonna try to get financing, but if I can't, I'll still buy it. You can go with number 2 right here. Same amount for financing, and then choose number 2. All right. But also, you know, make sure you add that an addendum with it. Okay. And that's with any option. Okay. All right. Then if you're doing assumption, that's a little different. And seller financing, of course, there's going to be some other documents you need to add. You don't see it a whole lot, but who knows? In commercial, you won't be surprised what you see. There's all different types of transactions. Everything is negotiable, so you never know. Am I going too fast? All right, hope not. Okay. Yes. Did someone have a question, or they were just saying, go ahead?
No, I said we're all good.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, so earnest money. All right, so same format as your residential. No later than 3 days, buyer must deposit such earns money to the title company, the address, who the closer is. And if, you know, they're going to be depositing some additional earnest money, it'll go right here. And you can kind of specify what you're doing with it, whether it's for or however you want to kind of use that additional earnest money. Okay. And then you go down to your title policy. I'm gonna go too fast. Okay. All right. So, you know, it's very similar, you know, once again to residential. And that's what I say. You guys are gonna really see that this contract is similar, but just got a little bit more moving parts. But you read 1 and you come down here to 2. This is where, you know, we remember where we list all those different items where it was going to be deleted or amended from the contract. Same scenario right here. And then it kind of tells you who's going to pay for it if you're gonna amend it. Okay. And then you got an opportunity to say within so many days, you know, they're going to give you a title commitment. Okay. And I'm not going to read every paragraph, you know, I didn't say that, but I think once you get into it and you start reading it, you know, you'll be able to fill it out. That's why we love these promulgated forms. They're built in such a way that we can interpret them. And when we start deviating from this, and that's why we need some other guidance. But this is something that we can do for sure. So on B, on the survey, you can choose how many days and who's going to pay for it. You know, the buyer, the seller. You know, if you want the seller just to buy you a new one, all right, put it right here. But it's up to you. You can choose these options, 1, 2, or 3. Either one of them will work, and as long as you know it's going to be within these days here. All right. Going on to C, you don't, unless you're selling some in retail or someone that's got some merchandise, you don't see this a whole lot. The UCC, Universal Commercial Code, it all depends on the type of deal you're doing. But in most cases, you won't see that a lot. But if you do, you can have so many days that you want to actually have it done. And it could be at the seller expense, or the seller may say, I ain't giving it to you, you buy it. So you guys just base that off of what kind of transaction, because this contract covers a multitude of different pieces of property, whether it's multifamily, whether it's just an industrial building, whether it's an office building, you know, so use it how you need to. Or it could even be a strip center. But when it comes down to, you know, the survey and the title commitment, all that good stuff, you have an opportunity, and UCC search, you have an opportunity to have some objections, right? Or talk about what concerns you, or something doesn't look right, or doesn't fit what your client intended this piece of property to do for them. You have the right to object here.
Donna, put a table for you.
Hello.
Come, go in.
Can you please mute, please?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. All right. So going down, we were talking about survey, UCC, and title commitment. How many days you want to, you know, have an opportunity to give them feedback? You can put that there. Number 7, property conditions. You know, we do this a lot. You know, most of the time you're going to end up putting as is in this, because this is at the front. You never really know what's going on with a property until you get it inspected. Or if there's something that you know that you can see the roof is collapsing down, you can put on here a repair roof. But you typically will do your inspections, and then you'll come up with your direction you want to go in terms of repairs, or you're going to take it on yourself. But in any case, if you have some repairs that you want taken care of at the seller's expense before closing, list it right here. Okay, here go this feasibility study. Okay, so feasibility period, you guys, we know in the residential realm, option period, right? It gives us an unrestricted right to terminate a contract for whatever reason, whether it's inspection, something came up, there's a different opinions, I don't like it anymore.
Don't cut me off.
it gives you the right to terminate for whatever reason it may be. Okay. So in commercial, these days can vary. It's not your 10 to 7, 14-day periods. Depends on what it is. You know, I was doing a deal for a car lot and we put 120 days there for feasibility. You know, they were selling the dealership and the cars. So there's a lot of research stuff that had to be done. It was in Stafford and we just needed a lot more days. But whatever days that you think that's best for you and your client to look at permitting, occupancy certificates, whatever it is that you think you may need, put it here. And then when you come down for the independent consideration, you can check one box and insert an amount. Now, this could be a little tricky, but I will tell you the best way to do this is if you're gonna do A, put an amount here, right? It says if the buyer terminates under the paragraph 7B, earnest money will be refunded to the buyer less than, you know, a lot of times you just try to negotiate the best deal. You be like, hey, I want that for nothing. But it could be a hassle trying to agree to disagree what you put in there. So make sure there's a dollar amount. If you don't want to give much for this, just say $100, say $5,000 if it's something that you really want to push for. Remember, this can either strengthen your deal or weaken your deal. So do what's best in the situation for your client. If I was under contract for $1 million deal and I put up $20,000 of earnest money, you know, I wouldn't see myself not agreeing to giving $1,000 here under this paragraph. You can put $500, but I'm just letting you know, put something there and don't leave it blank. Because if you go down here to this bold section down here that's underlined, if there's no dollar amount stated in this paragraph 7B1 or the buyer fails to deposit the earnest money, the buyer will not have the right to terminate under this contract. And you know we don't want that, right? Something come up, we need to make sure we got our buyer protected, and we don't want to put their earnest money at risk like that. So talk it over with your buyer, your client, and make a good decision. And if you want to pay some additional money, you can go with B, not later than 3 days after the effective date, the buyer will pay an additional as independent consideration to terminate. And, you know, I definitely would see no reason you have to do that for sure. Okay. And, you know, as always, things could come up. If you need to extend the feasibility period, you can kind of negotiate that up front. So, you know, you may be taking a tight deadline saying, hey, I'm going to try to shoot for 30 days. I think I need more, but I'm going to shoot for 30 days. And I just want to prepare. I might need an additional 14 to 15 more days on top of this. And I'll give you additional earnest money. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. Can y'all mute? Can you mute your lines, please? Let me go in here. Mute all. All right, sorry about that. Okay. I don't know, I'm gonna have to unmute y'all. You guys start talking, sorry about that. But here, I was talking about this extending the feasibility period. If you need more days, you can negotiate up front. It doesn't mean if you don't do it now, you can't do it later. You can always talk through the process with the other agent as you guys need to. Okay. Yeah, I'll meet you.
Robert,
Yes.
before you leave this section, if we're going to have to terminate the tenant and he's going to require, let's say, $100,000 to vacate the premises, okay, would that be worked out through B, i.e. giving them, say, the first 30 days for their evaluations, and then after that to deposit additional monies which would not be refundable?
You know, that's a good question. You can use this however you think works out, you know, whether you can extend it after the period is over, or if you want to set up something to make known what dates and times you expect performers, you can do that as well.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out if this is, you know, would be applicable to put something here or leave it strictly into special provisions.
Yeah, in special provision, we try to stay just, you know, away from that area as possible. I know there's times where we got to put factual stuff in there, But, you know, I think if you guys discuss it, you can kind of figure out which is going to be the best way to, you know, put this in the contract where everybody's happy.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Anyone else have anything about this section before we move on? All right. So we're going down to C, inspections, studies, and assessments. You know, there's all type of things that could be done, you know, phase 1, phase 2, all environmental studies. I mean, it's, you know, a regular inspection, commercial inspection, AC, all kind of different inspections. But you can do them all within the time you need to, you know, your time to do your due diligence is your time. If you need more time, you can ask for it, but, you know, make no mistake, once that time is over, you're going to be expected to perform. Okay. So if you need utilities, you need some services done, all that stuff, you're going to have to negotiate with the seller on who's going to pay for it. You know, in most cases, you think the seller get it turned on, but sometimes I've seen where they don't. I've seen where buyers, you know, want to do it at a certain time and they get it turned on. It's a number of things that can happen. So just keep an open mind when it comes to, you know, negotiating in commercial, because there's no one deal like the next, for sure. All right. Going down here to property information. So a lot of times you'll go down this list and you'll say, oh, I want all of these things, but just make sure it makes sense, because a lot of times these sellers, they don't have it, and they'll tell you they don't have it. They'll tell you to remove it from the list. But if anything in here applies to what you think you need to make a decision on this property, whether it's capacity letters, any assessments that they've already done, copies of that, floor plan, any build outs that they plan on having, you know, you could, you know, ask for it here. If it's not in this list right here, you can put something down here that you want. Okay. If for some reason you do get some of these things, whether they were emailed to you or hand delivered, you got to talk about how you're going to give them back, or the return of that information. A lot of times you just want to delete it if it's electronically, or the seller may say, bring it back to me, or whoever, or if not, they may want you to shred it. It's up to the negotiation, but you got some options right here if you want to just point them out, what your plans are. Okay. We'll skip over contract effect and operations. We were talking about leases. You know, I think we were talking about a lease when you got to get a tenant out of there. If there's any letters or dealings with the tenant, or you want the certificates to kind of talk about where they stand, you can request that here. And how many days do you expect to get that? All right. And then going down, going down to brokers. I think you guys all know what happens here. The principal broker is always the listing agent in most cases. It's almost in most cases. Then you got cooperating broker, which would be your buyer. So if you're writing up this contract and you're the buyer's agent, you put your information over here. Texas your name and realty. And it don't ask for it out here, but I put the broker ID number right here, broker license number. Then I put my name, the address, you know, phone number, license number here, all that good stuff. And then right here, it says the principal broker represents the seller owner, represents the buyer owner. You make sure you fill that out appropriately. And then you get into your fees. So the first option, you know, this is how you get paid. So you need to be specific about this, right? The first option is the seller would pay a principal broker fee specified in a separate written agreement between principal broker and seller. Now, you're not going to see this. In fact, in commercial, you're probably not going to see the commission 9 times out of 10. You know, so I definitely wouldn't rely on a written commission agreement that I haven't seen. So if I were you, if you had an expectation, I would use number 2, right? So at closing of this sale, the seller would pay, and then you identify what you expect to get. And if that's not what they expect, then you guys work out what you guys are going to do. Or they show you the agreement, or you got an agreement between broker, whatever it may be. But make sure that you know, if you hadn't seen something that tells you what your commission is, use this option to identify what you think it's going to be. And if it's a set price, like, you know, I know there's a lot of companies out there now, they're going to the set price points, you know, kind of like what you're seeing in residential, where they may take a point off and say, give you 2% versus 3%. You know, they might say, oh, I'm gonna give you on this deal, you get a set $10,000. Whatever the case may be, you know, you can put the exact number here, or you can put the percentage there. And then the cash to be paid in, you know, I would just keep in mind the county that the property is in. I don't think they're going to stop the close if you have Montgomery versus Harris on this document, but I typically just put the county that the property is in. Okay. And then come on down to the favorite words, closing. When is it going to close? You got some options, right? You can say you're going to close on one after the expiration of the feasibility period. And normally, if you did that feasibility period right, you're going to stretch that thing out as far as you can, especially if you're the buyer, right? So if you say, oh, I want 120 days feasibility period, and then you might say, oh, I'm going to close 30 days after that, or I'm going to close 15 days after that. Who knows? But whatever you decide, you can put that there if you're going to use this technique. If you just have a specific date in mind, you can put it here. Or if you got something you just want to write out, maybe after the construction is done on this area, whatever, you can kind of specify it right here. Okay. And then come down to see where we talk about warranty. Of course, you guys know, you know, you always want to try to get a general warranty if you can, but in most deals you're going to see is going to be special warranty. Now, I can't say most, I always use those words too heavily, but in a lot of deals you'll see that special warranty deeds, they're only going to cover back from the current guarantor, the person that owns it. They don't go all the way back, and they may just have a certain point where they don't go all the way back to the history of the property. So shoot for a general, but you're probably going to get a special. And then you guys can read through all of this just for the sake of time. Any questions? Am I going too fast? Anybody have anything? Closing? All right, you guys are quite a bunch. Hopefully we're getting it. And I can also be reached offline. There's a bunch of people that, you know, that'll be able to help us. I know we have Amy, she's really good. I know she's busy with a lot of other stuff, but, and we're working on getting some extra personnel to help with the commercial division. So got a lot of good stuff coming out there, but definitely you can reach out to me for now. And if you have any questions, and we'll try to get those answers to you as best possible. Okay, the next couple of pages, nothing is entered there, just standardization of the contract, similar to our residential. And then you come to your special provision, right? We were talking about, you know, what to put in here. Do we use it a lot? We don't really write a whole lot in here. And I know that a lot of times in commercial, you're going to have lawyers that may want to input something into the contract. They're not going to rewrite another contract just for the sake of say they rewrote it, but they may want to incorporate a statement here too. And we can just identify that as it was a lawyer that had that input in there. And we need to get everybody initial that they agree to the statement, that they received the information. All right, keeping it moving. Sales expenses, you know how that works. All right. Prorations, just like residential, everybody will get the right amount of taxes or whatever loans, rents, rollback taxes. You'll deal with those when you need to. Rents and security deposit, of course, you're going to have to deal with some of that. Enforcement, you know, I really don't put anything here, but if you want to enforce, you can, you know, if a buyer or a seller, you know, you can definitely, you know, consult with your attorney on what your options are. But you know, that's I think goes without saying. Any casualties and condemnation, lawyers, escrow, and it gets down here. You don't hear it a lot, but a lot of companies and people sometimes, instead of them paying taxes when they buy a property or they sell a property, they roll it over into the next. They use this section 1031. Just ask your buyers and sellers, is this property or that they're buying or selling is going to be considered, you know, a 1031 exchange. All right. Then material facts. This is kind of like where this whole seller disclosure thing come in at. Very similar. It's a property condition, right? So you can choose A, seller is not aware of any material defects, right? Other than what's attached to the condition statement. Or if you guys know some stuff, you can provide it, whatever works for you. But there is a form that you can attach that kind of goes through how you check this box. Is this there? Is this there? And this is the statement right here, the commercial property condition statement. And it's 1408. Okay. Notices. Of course, we always want to have electronic communication as the easiest way to get to everyone. So please have your buyer and seller consult to that. You can check both boxes, hopefully. All right. And then agreements of all parties. You got some of these things that tell you how this contract is going to be binding, but you can also add, some things that may apply also, which, we talked about this property condition. We talked about if this is going to be a financing deal, the commercial contract financing addendum, all these things, even the lead-based paint, if this property is over, past 1978, you need to use that for this typical deal. So you have options, use them if you need to. If it don't apply, don't worry about it. And you, of course, you got information brokers, and all these other ones down here. Another thing when you're dealing with companies, LLCs, or individuals that represent LLCs, they may want to assign a contract. So what that means is it's not going to be in the name that you wrote it in, and it's going to be in someone else once they get all the people lined up and kind of identify whose name is going to be used. Then you have that right. But sometimes some sellers don't want to assign it. Or you can just say, hey, I'm not assigning it, whatever works for you. But this is the area that you identify your plans for that. All right, keeping it moving. Man, we might get through a little quick. 9:15. Remember the initial on the bottom of every page. All right, same thing as residential. K, license holder disclosure. If you are going to be owning 10% or more in this property investment, you own 10% or more, whatever, identify yourself. Identify yourself. All right. All right. And then unlike residential, hey, you can put a little deadline on your offer. So you can tell them, hey, this offer is only up until this time period. Anything past that, we might be renegotiating. So number 26, you can put in here how long you want your offer to last. Oh man, we at the end. What's up? What's up? Okay, so this is the end. You put the buyer name, company name, whoever, have them assign it if it's more than one person. And then put the title if it's a company for sure. But we've reached the end. Then that last piece that every one want to make sure get done right. This is like the broker page of the residential. All right, so you'll go and you'll put on here the principal broker agrees to pay. That'll be us if you're writing this contract. All right, and then you can put the dollar amount or the percentage or whatever you guys, how you want to identify it, and then the principal broker information to go here. That agent assign, the cooperator broker, which would be the buyer broker, go here, and then they sign. If there was any attorneys that had input or has something to say about this, you can identify them here if they want any notices or are going to be contacted. And then of course here the title company will receipt your escrow and make sure everybody got a copy of it. So man, I think I ran through that pretty quick. Like I said, it was a quick overview, kind of just to put some food on your mind, food for thought. Well, we'll mix that up. But in any case, food for thought is what I wanted to say. Yeah. All right. But what questions do we have? Or is there any questions?
Robert,
Yes, sir.
Gary again, Spargo.
Hey, Gary. How are you, man?
All right. I'm by no means expert with Dotloop. I hate the sucker, and I've told Rick that forever.
Hey, I felt that way one time in my life. But go ahead.
I just ran into something, and I don't know if it's me or not. Dotloop told me it was not me. They have no order of sequence for the distribution of the documents for getting the signatures.
Yeah.
Am I being told wrong by their help desk?
You know, I've never asked that question. I've always just sent it. I've always just sent it to them and had them sign it. When they signed it, came back.
Yeah, the problem I'm running into is having sent the contract out to the seller, the buyer, and the lender, and everybody. And lender, title company, they're getting documents before they even been signed, and that kind of a thing. And they're getting fed back emails. Hey, send it to me signed.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. You're only representing one side, right? And then when
Correct.
I send it to buyer and seller, it's either buyer or seller, and then you're sending it to the title company from Dotloop. I would just download it maybe and send it, but you can easily just send it straight to one person and just have them view only. And
yeah, that's what Dotloop said to do. But I mean, the whole principle is supposed to be, my memory is it's been so long back. Zip form, we used to be able to do it.
I know, yeah, I love Zip form. But here's the thing, Mr. Gary, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Hang tight because we're gonna be doing paperless.
And I can't wait.
Yeah, so just, man, brace yourself. It's coming. One of the things is we got a lot of resources that are now available to us, and they didn't want to overload us with so much. Everybody got jobs. Some people working 3 jobs, 2 jobs, kids busy, traveling, all kinds of stuff. So the plan was to evenly kind of roll out stuff over a time, so it's not an overload and people can receive it better. It's funny, we was at a dinner one night talking about how this stuff was going to roll out, and we did some number exercises trying to remember the number game, what the numbers were. And you can see how, you give a little bit of information, you can retain it, but if you start giving a lot of information in a short amount of time, it's hard to retain everything. So, and I know because I was talking to Amy this week, man, she was like gun ho. It in paperless pipeline, it sets like reminders, it emails your DA out for you. Oh my God, it's just so much. And I know it's gonna take some time getting used to because change is just different. And I know, all of us kind of work through it at different paces, but at the end of the day, man, I think everyone is gonna love this paperless pipeline. It's probably a headache right now because I think those girls at the office, bless their heart, they're importing those documents that we have currently on file into this thing so that we can all be on one accord.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's some work.
That would be, I mean, my question about this sequential is one question that I'm asking about this. Will the new one handle that? Where we can fill it out once and we don't have to keep resending it every time somebody else has done something.
I've heard, very little about it, but the little I've heard has been positive. So I can't tell you, but I'll ask and see. But at the end of the day, I like Dotloop, but if we can streamline it, anything is better than Dotloop, I'm happy. I'm good with that. But we'll see. I've heard a lot of good things about it for sure. And they've been using it quite a while, and it's like heaven to them. So I can't imagine somebody saying heaven about something that's not good.
Okay. One thing that called people's attention, because selling commercial properties, especially if we get out into counties, and that's going to be where they have water wells.
Yeah.
I can identify with that. And that's going to be getting the transfer of the permit from the Galveston Harris County Subsidence District would be one of your issues. Another issue will be, of course, the quality of the water.
Okay.
So recognize that.
Yeah, it's a lot, I did make it seem simple just because I ran through this form so quick, but it's going to be a lot of moving parts in commercial, man. It's similar to residential, but man, it's a lot. But the paydays are better too. You know, on the leases, you get a little bit more. On the sales, you get a little bit more. And if you get into it and you start liking it, man, before you know it, I mean, I had, man, one of my mentees, their first deal was like 1.6 million, and they sold a church, you know, and I think I don't know what she made, good amount of money off of that one deal. So you're gonna have some opportunity where these things present themselves. I think we're just gonna try to take advantage of it. And that's one reason why I love Texas United and United Realty, because they believe in allowing us to do these type of transactions. A lot of brokerages, you know, you're either going to do residential or you got to go join a commercial brokerage. Here, they're allowing us to work with all of our clients. Now, we don't have all of the how can I say, the armory to do commercial like we want, but it's coming. It's a process. We're slowly growing this part of the business where, you know, right now we only have a few people with hands on deck. I imagine by the end of the year, one more year where we kind of got some time to get some of this other stuff behind our belt, where we will be with this. So it's coming.
On commissions, if I might. Okay, what's typical for us? Because I mean, I run into other commercial companies, and I mean, they're talking a 4, 5, 8% commission.
Yeah. They could be anything. They also would try to, you know, if you seem like you don't know what you're doing, they'll try to give you 1% too.
Yeah.
And you know, like I told you, some of those companies, they have
What
set commissions. But it can range.
what have you seen, and is it displayed on LoopNet?
It is not displayed on LoopNet. Some agents have the courtesy and they'll tell you a little bit about it. On some of CommGate, you can find some you find in their literature, but it's not disclosed like you would think it is in residential for sure.
So you just text the listing agent and ask outright?
Yeah, man. I mean, here's what I do, right? If I have a property that I'm considering, right, for my client, I'm calling up the agent and I'm going to put it on their side because they're going to, you know, they want to sell that property and be like, hey, how you doing, Joe? My name is Robert Griffin with Texas United Realty. Listen, I was calling about this property you have on 123 Street. Man, it looks good. Is that thing still available? Oh, okay, great. Well, I got a guy that I think this might be a good fit for. They're looking for some property just like this. I have 3 other properties that I want to show them, but I want to add this one to the list. Is it available to show it on this day? Oh, okay, great. All right, man, you've been so helpful. Well, you know what? You know, that last question I got to ask, how much is the commission on this? Is it 7%, 10%? Tell me, what am I looking at? You know, start high, because if you start low, they're going to let you go there and stay there. All right. If somebody, you say it's a commission 3% and they know it's 5%, they're going to be like, yeah, it's 3%. And they're going to be pocketing 2%. But it's best to know up front and get them to agree. Once you get that conversation started, however you get to talking about it, find out what it is, and then, you know, write that note down. And when you submit your LOI, if this property become something that you're interested in, when you submit your LOI, go ahead and send an agreement between brokers with it and the LOI. On the LOI, it'll say how much you're expecting the commission. Then you can just add that agreement between broker or agreement between landlord and broker, however it is. Put it out there so that, you know, you're negotiating up front. And I'm gonna tell you, some of these commercial agents, I don't know where their mind be, but for some reason, they don't like residential agents. I don't know why, because if you bring me a willing buyer that can pay for my property that I'm trying to sell for my client, I'm selling it to you. I don't care who you are. As long as you got a license and you're not, you know, doing any scamming, we can talk. But for them to push back on residential rules, I know a lot of it because of skill set and, you know, the competency, you know, a lot of residential don't have 20 years of commercial like these guys probably do. But we got a qualified buyer. Help me, help you. So, but yeah, man, that commission you're definitely gonna have to work on and talk through so that you know, you're on the right track with it. And you know, we never want to put commission before our buyer or seller needs, but we also earn a living, and we're working our butts off to make sure that we stay at the top of our game to help our clients.
Let me raise a caution there, everybody, too.
Mhm.
These companies that are buying up these houses and they're reselling them, such as Open Door, to name one, the commissions are not necessarily going to be 3%. they may cut you down to 2%, and sometimes they'll try to get you lower than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're representing the buyer.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't be surprised. You're gonna see who was who was that? Leonard? No, not Leonard. Yeah, name is Leonard. Leonard tried to go out there and take state commission back and look at it. They started struggling and brought it back. But you're gonna see companies. I know HI, MI, they got 2%. Some of these companies will do it. Even sellers, just like if you was on the car earlier, they out there bidding and raising leases these days. So things don't surprise me now. That's why you need to kind of, be good at what you do and take pride in what you do and make sure you take care of your client. All right, guys, I got time for a few more questions, but we're going to be on here an hour. I want to respect you guys' time. There's a lot of things in this chat. I couldn't get to the chat and talk at the same time. I'm sorry. I'm not that Zoom ready. But there were some things in here that came across. I think we got some answers to some of it, but if there's someone that did get something answered in the chat, you guys want to try to throw that out there real quick and we can see if we can get an answer. We got like 2 or 3 minutes. If not, I'm sorry, I'll do better at the chat and presentation, but I just, I didn't get a chance to go through those. Okay, so.
Yeah, Robert, Fernando, I just wanted to add about if they do want to, agents that don't have any commercial experience want to do commercial, that we do have they would be involved in a mentor program.
Yeah. So like Fernando said, man, we want you guys to be out there doing, real estate at the end of the day, but we also want to make sure you know what you're doing. I was talking about earnest money, option period money. And I had an agent, we had got into a debate with a seller because she thought she was going to get this guy's earnest money because she wanted to all of a sudden get out of this deal. It's like, what's going on? But we don't want to put you guys out there where you get into a legal battle, even though we got EO insurance and stuff like that. We don't want you to be afraid or not know what you're doing. We want to at least try to set you up. Who knows? We might not be able to give you everything you need, but at least we want to try to help you understand what you're doing as an agent. So we figured through this mentor program where, where it's 5 transactions, 3 leases, whatever, you do that, we feel that you should at least have some knowledge to be able to go out there and conduct business. And if you got those transactions, man, that's good. You're going to be out of the program, go do business. But if you had not done it, we're going to probably need to run you through. And that's a decision, Fernando and Carol make. But across the board, we just want to support our realtors when we out there trying to do business. And we want to make sure if we can prevent something up front, then we can. And God knows, there is no know-it-all, be-it-all. But if we can have some kind of help, that's what we want to do. So. All right, well, I think I chatted enough, held y'all up all night. Thank you so much for coming out and hopefully getting a little bit of information. Of course, hold on, I go to my last little slide where you got my number. I think most of you guys have my number anyway. It's 832. You can take a snapshot of this, 7230780, or email. Try to do all of it because at the end of the day, I'm going to try to get back to you as soon as possible, but I can be busy. All right. But one thing, if you know anything about me, if you don't hear from me, you can call me anytime. And I'll do my best to get back to you guys within a timely manner. And if I don't, call me back. Who knows? I could have been.
Great job. Thank you.
Huh?
Thank you so much, Robert. Great job, Robert.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Judith.
you.
Appreciate it. Good hearing from you.
Yep.
Hey, good job, Robert.
Hey, thank you, Yuri. Appreciate it, man. All right, guys. Good night. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye-bye. All right, Judy. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Robert.